Good evening. My name is Jenny Leckie. I teach English 1 Honors at Loris Middle School. I am so sorry that I can't be there with you tonight, but I did want to share some important information about National History Day and how it fits with English 1. So I created this little presentation and I hope it really helps answer some questions that you might have. I did put my contact information up on the screen and I will show that to you again at the end of my presentation. Research is to see what others have seen and to think what nobody else has thought. This basically sums up the entire motivation behind National History Day. That is what motivates us in the social studies classroom with exploring an interesting new undiscovered topic, but it also has to do with what drives us in the English classroom and how we feel connected to our topic and how we look at arguments from different angles. Research, discussions, questions, perspectives, discovery. Those words sum up what our days look like when we are dealing with National History Day from an English 1 perspective. I did want to point out that research is an English 1 state standard and it's taught within the ELA classroom. It is then put into practice in social studies as well for NHD. So each student is expected to practice all research skills regardless of project groupings. That is wonderful that they are working together, and research should be collaboration, but also each student is held accountable for practicing each individual research skill. This is what the research process looks like moving forward. We currently are working on guiding questions. We have credibility and reliability, academic research. They will write an annotated bibliography and they will produce a research essay. Guiding questions. This is allowing them to explore different perspectives and angles of a topic. They've been working really hard in class this week to come up with unique questions that they can put into search engines to help them find different sources that they might not have stumbled across with basic questioning techniques. We definitely focus on credibility of sources because we can't believe everything we find online. The skills that we learn by validating website credibility really helps us not just in the classroom, but we reinforce this in the classroom that this applies to real life, that students should be checking for credibility no matter what their use of the internet. So this is a very important standard that we cover throughout the unit, and we really trickle this throughout the school year. I mentioned earlier that we're focusing on academic research. We started off the year by doing some basic research where we went into Google and found some more information about our topic because maybe we didn't know what we were actually researching at first. But now that the students have a sense of what their topic is and maybe a direction or two that they'd like to go, we're actually switching gears into focusing on academic research. Academic research includes academic journals, peer-reviewed articles, newspapers both from that time and current newspapers, government websites, academic magazines, primary, secondary sources, all of that good stuff that doesn't necessarily show up on Google. On the right side of the screen, I put some of the sources that are offered through Horry County Schools, and I'm going to touch base on that in just a moment. We are allocating time in ELA and in social studies on Wednesdays for students to research, but the amount of effort that needs to go into this National History Project requires students to also use their at-home time, their personal time, for this to be a success. So up on the screen, I've listed some resources for a good starting place for them. HorryCountySchools.net. I will show you that website in just a moment, but that is a wonderful place to start. They can also request books from any Horry County school in the district. They can also look online during school and request books from the Horry County Public Libraries. We also really strongly encourage on-location research if this applies, and also maybe visiting local historical societies if that applies to a topic. Really quickly, I want to show you the resources available to all students on HorryCountySchools.net. If you go to horrycountyschools.net and you go to the Students and Parent button, an entire resource menu will pop up on the left. If you scroll about halfway down and go to the Student Learning Commons for middle and high school, this has every single research source that a student could use. Some of the major resources that I've emphasized was using Destiny to look for books within the district, Discus, which I will touch on in a second, the Library of Congress, the Clemson Cooperative Extension. This allows them to access a database that has the college level resources. Also, we have access to the Horry County Memorial Library and the Chapin Memorial Library, just to name a few things on this website. I do want to touch on Discus because this is one of the top academic research databases that we have. The students have gone through a lesson to learn how to use Discus, but I wanted parents to be aware of what is at their child's fingertips once they get on the internet. If you go to the A to Z list, you will see all of these different academic related databases that they can search their topic. There is tons to choose from. This is the number one place that students can go on their free time to access quality research databases. The next thing I wanted to touch on is organization and how we're keeping our research process organized this year. We're going to be using Google Drive. Each student has their own Google Drive account using their school email address. This can be accessed anywhere as long as you have internet access in a web browser. All the students need to go to are drive.google.com. Once they've logged in, they have already created a folder that says NHD Research Materials. This is where, if they're in a group, they have started collaborating online to share their resources and share ideas, even if they're in different ELA classes. This one group that I've used as an example has started to collect their sources in a Google Doc that they created. They've given information and they also have given each other notes, which is great. And I also see that they've started their MLA citations. So this is already a great use of Google Drive, and I'm really proud of these students. This is what they'll be using to organize their information throughout the process. Another very helpful tool that they're going to start using at the end of the week and next week is this form. This form will be filled out every time they find a valid source that they want to use for their project. This will collect information that will actually help them write their annotated bibliography and will help them organize their essay and project once they're done with the research stage. All three of these areas are needed for success for National History Day. Most importantly, in the middle is individual research process, which is crucial for success. We also combine that with the English and Social Studies curriculum standards, paired with group collaboration. When all three of these things happen this fall, the students are going to see mountains and mountains of success with their projects. One last note before we go, I do want to remind you that we do have an English website on Weebly for our class. It's Lecky English with the number 1.weebly.com. If you scroll down, this will be updated with current happenings and project updates for our classroom. There will be content here for when students miss days, or for instance, I'm actually going to put this presentation up there as well for parents who might have missed this meeting. And we will be building up our Book Love website. So any updates about NHD will also be on our school website. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out here and support your students, support us as teachers, and get involved with the process. We really, really appreciate it. If you have any questions, there's my email, there's my phone number, and there is my Twitter handle. Make sure you look for our class on Twitter this year. We are going to set up our Twitter accounts next week. So you make sure you ask your child what their Twitter handle is, and you can follow the happenings of our English 1 class on our Twitter page. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.